Hello and welcome to In the Zone, your one-stop source for the latest news of Intel from our Tech Provider Zone site. Joining me today, as always, is Peter Krass, editor of Tech Provider Zone. Peter and I are going to talk for a couple of minutes about some of the latest goings on with Intel and technology. And we're going to start today by talking about Intel Vision. And I understand, Peter, that there's some announcements of new CPUs and GPUs and more. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, it was a big day. It was a two-day event, hybrid event, some live in Texas, some online. Almost all the top executives from Pat Gelsinger all the way down were there, and there were just the announcements just kept coming. First up, there's a new mobile processor called the 12th Gen Intel Core HX, and they're saying this will be the last seven members of the 12th Gen Core family. Big deal. There was another announcement on Sapphire Rapids, which is the code name for 4th Gen Xeon. That's a data center CPU. Those are going to be shipping. They're shipping now, the first SKUs. They also announced 2nd Gen AI processor as part of their Habana group. So Intel sees a lot of opportunity in AI. And they basically said, if you're not doing AI at this point, you're really, really missing the boat. They're big in that. They announced a new GPU for the data center. It's just called the data center GPU, but it's a big deal also. This thing is really fast. It can handle like 40 games on a single card. It's part of the whole one API strategy. It's quite easy to develop code for this thing because it runs the same software stack as Xeon. Two other projects they talked about that weren't really announcements per se, but they have one called Project Apollo. It's a new collaboration with Accenture, the consulting firm, and they're going to come out with open source AI solution kits for other organizations to use. So that's interesting. And then there's a new update on the Project Aurora, which is a gigantic supercomputer that Argonne National Labs is building, working with Intel. That's now available for reservations and setting up development accounts. It's not finished yet, but you can get in on day one. Just to give you an idea how big that is, a typical server has, I don't know, between 1 and 16 nodes. This thing will have 10,000. It's really big.
So now for the next topic, I'm as we record this in mid-May, I'm really trying hard not to use the Star Wars thing here because I know the next piece we're going to talk about is 4 eras of Ethernet, and it's all I can do to say may the 4th era of Ethernet be with you. But I'm not going to do it, Peter. I'm not going to do it. But just tell us about the 4th era of Ethernet and why it's important to this audience.
Well, really, what we identified is there's really 3 eras, and we're probably entering what's a 4th. So the first one is from 1980. That's the beginning of the Ethernet, the invention, and these things are getting smaller and smaller. Era 2 starts around 2005 with virtualization on servers. Ethernet's a big part of that. And what we call the 3rd era started around 2015, optimization, which is just more application responsiveness, less latency. The things are just getting faster, more throughput. We have a wonderful article by Kevin Jacoby. He looks all through this. He talked with Gary Gumanow, who's a wonderful engineer at Intel, and they really went through this nicely. And then the question is there a 4th era, and how do we know? Maybe we're already in it.
Fair enough. And then for our final story today, I want to talk about collaboration. Always a hot topic, especially with Intel. But I understand through Intel Unite, there's a new subscription model and training for partners. Tell us some about that.
Yeah, that's right. I think Intel's responding to, all the remote work that's going on, and they've made some big changes to Unite. Unite's not a new product, but they enhanced it in some ways. You can now use it with older Windows PCs. They're finding that a lot of people wanted to be able to do that. There's also now a subscription model, right? Instead of purchasing, they're going that route. And there's also there's an Intel Unite competency and partner university. These competencies are sort of deep dive training programs that typically have like anywhere from like 14 to 20 courses. They're short, but when you do the whole thing, you have quite a good expanse. And they've refreshed that with 5 new courses.
Well, there you go. With my special correspondent, Elvis Costello, Peter Krass. I'm Ed Hannan, and as always, check out Tech Provider Zone for the latest news about Intel. It's updated constantly with the latest goings on about Intel and technology. Peter, thanks for your time, and have a great day, everyone. Take care.